There it is.
Well, you're pretty dressed up. I like this tie. It's got ornaments, Christmas ornaments. I like that. And it dresses you up pretty nice, I'll have to say. Yeah.
I call this meeting of the Seymour City Council to order. Could I have roll call, please?
Grady Bennett. Yep. Nadine Crisp.
Here.
Jim Ashley.
Yes.
Mary Carpenter's absent, and it is determined there is a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So we'll now have, let's see, who is there? Chuck, can you lead us in a prayer? Can you do that? If everyone would stand, please.
Dear Lord, we come to you in prayer tonight. Thank you for this day we've had. Thank you for this country that we live in. Lord, we just pray that you'll be with this board meeting tonight. We pray that you'll be with the Carpenter family and be with them this time of need. Lord, be with everybody through the holidays. Keep everybody safe, Lord. For all these things we pray in Jesus' precious heavenly name. Amen.
Amen. If you would join with me in pledge of allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes from the previous meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
We have a motion on the floor to approve the minutes as presented. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. We need to approve the bills as we have them in front of you. I've had a chance to review them. There may be some questions on the bills. Any council member have questions about the bills as presented?
Yes, I do.
Ms. Crisp.
This is the craft web design. What all is that? 2,563 on the first page.
That is 3 months' bill, September, October, November, and it's IT service probably at the library here, storm shelter, the police station, and then there's a refurbished computer that she purchased for our sewer department. And then just some annual,
It's usually $890 a month, is that about right?
well,
I think it's a very
yeah.
quite a bit, because we had all that work done at the, all that library computer and work place.
Library
And then
grant.
how much was the new computer?
been
That
up
was
and
a pretty
down
good
a
chunk
lot.
of that, wasn't it?
Well,
No, actually, it's only $176.
Okay.
It was a refurbished one.
Yeah.
176.
Yeah, 176.38.
And this Cox Health fiscal, what,
okay,
that's on
That
the
was
next
a new
page.
hire possibly.
what now?
Cox.
Oh, did you say physical?
Pre-employment.
Yeah, pre-employment physical, yes.
And GT distributor.
That's that replacement block for the police department.
This next one, information technology, 16.
That is a 6-month, that's, the police software, yeah.
support.
Yeah, it's for 6 months. It's for their system that they use.
And this John's Mid-America Fire, they got a part was $53.54 and the labor is $698.
I don't think they could get the ladder going down. Sean just left, but something, I think they were having trouble getting the ladder down.
$698.
We'll have to ask.
Yeah.
He left early to attend the basketball game since we're having a brief meeting, so, let's make a note of that, and we'll ask that at our next meeting, and we'll set that meeting date here in just a minute.
And Ottmeyer's $32,000.
That's the,
Yes. Yes.
that's on the UV project, but
Yeah, and we had a credit, you know, from the savings, when we changed vendors on the UVs, so it offset. But anyway, that was his bill, but the savings offset it.
Saving, boy, must have been a lot if the savings offset. Wow. So did we accomplish anything at all for that?
Sam?
Well, I mean, that was, you know, that was several months of work, Nadine, and, I mean, I can show you what he charged us for. I mean, we can get copies of
But
everything.
what you're
stored
saying,
there.
we probably didn't accomplish much for that. Not yet?
Well, they haven't yet begun the work. It should begin when, Sam?
Well, I asked him, and he said he talked to them today, but he really doesn't have a start date. I know they have been by the sewer plant and talked to John, so that has happened.
Right.
But there's not been any groundwork done, any breaking of the ground.
So we're kind of
It's-
paying him before he starts to work, is that
This
what
is
it
work he's already accomplished before.
It's hard to look at it and see $32,000 worth of work, but it's all part of the process that has to be done.
Right.
It's an engineering.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So it had to be done before the work could actually begun. And now we're being billed for the work that he's done in engineering in preparation for that work.
What about this Roger DeLong network engineer system, $1,500?
Whenever we had to have the police computers all reworked when they crashed.
Yeah, when they got hacked.
At the police department?
Yeah.
Right.
And this Darien, PMPHR is not payment, $173.
What page are you on?
I'm on page 5, next to the top. Second.
Oh, okay, so we offer online payment for utility and tickets, and we get a lot of Seymour, Texas payments. So someone from Seymour, someone that got a ticket in Seymour, Texas paid Seymour, Missouri. So, we have his money, but then we had to give the money back, so it just washed.
What do you mean, have used money back, I guess?
He was trying to pay a fine in Seymour, Texas, and he accidentally paid it to Seymour, Missouri, so it's just
Oh,
reimbursing the
okay.
money
Yeah.
back to him,
Wow.
probably after
And that's not the
a while.
first,
That
yeah, not the
makes
first time it's
sense.
happened.
And on these credit cards, it says like cash for fees.
Right.
Oh, that
What
is,
that?
a monthly, so we're taking debit and credit back there. The credit card companies charge us a percentage, so that's that payment to the company that takes care of all that.
And Walmart's $138.90. I thought we was gonna buy stuff in town.
Yep.
Well, it's more expensive to do that, so,
Well, I know it, but then we get the taxes. We need to buy what we can in town, I think.
Well, we don't pay tax.
Well, I don't care if we don't,
But this was already purchased before that meeting. It was just right before that meeting.
It's a good point, though. Okay, we need to do business with local businesses. That's
And
correct.
toners, you can't get toners at Dan's, Simpson. Ink toner.
Ink
No.
toner, do you sell ink toner, copy toner?
We go through a lot of it.
And, oh, I'm sure it's in,
yeah.
debit card cash transfer, what is that?
Yeah.
$1,000.
That's our debit card. There's been a lot of guys going to training, like Lance, so we just when we keep $1,000 on it, and when it gets low, we transfer 1,000 to the debit card.
So how many would have been transferred for $600, well, actually $1,000?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been pretty, Dinwiddie's on his second, training, and so they take the debit card to pay for the room and the meals and,
Next time I come, I see copies of that, then here's another debit card.
Well,
Cash.
yeah,
$1,000.
same thing.
Plus $2,000.
It's the same thing, transferring it. There's the debit card charges in here. Let me see what they're at. I had to-
Well, there's one at 4030, I'm looking at here on the, page 2 of the,
3,000.
It starts with new egg,
mhm.
Starts with what?
new egg.
No.
There's some things that,
This is page 1, this right here, page.
There's so many pages deep, page 1 isn't
Mhm.
after that.
And then on the next page, same thing, they transfers $1,000. Debit
Okay.
card cash. $1,000. This first one's 3,000.
so, and then if you'll probably look, let me see if it's before or after. So after, it is all the debit card invoices. Like all the
So how
toner,
many people's got debit cards?
just one.
Just one.
Well, we keep it in the safe, but, like the toner, Staples doesn't give us credit, so we have to,
Okay.
so here's where we buy from Staples, our toner cartridges and,
$460.
Yeah.
So you pay some bills with credit cards, is that what you're
well,
saying?
just whenever we have to order the office supplies, like the toner cartridges, I mean, if you look at the next 3 or 4 pages, those are the credit card charges. Staples, the microphone stuff that we got. Lance's training, Dinwiddie's training.
Some of the meals are on there. We need to be kind of brief, I guess, if we might. Yeah, we can take this up if we're not finished with it thoroughly. We can take it up at our next meeting if that's agreeable with all the council members. So we won't ask for an approval of the bills at this time, or maybe we need to
Yeah, we
because
need to pay the
Mr.
bills.
Bennett's
We need-
paying the bills. So can we approve the bills and then review those at our next meeting? Chair would entertain a motion to approve the bills.
I'll move before I pay the bills.
We have a motion on the floor. Do I hear a second? We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, we'll take that up then at our next meeting and review those bills. Maybe this is the right time to just pause right quick and say, when would be an opportune time to have our next meeting? Because we need to set one before we adjourn.
I thought we had agreed it would be the regular meeting, first regular meeting in January.
First regular meeting in January. We don't need one before then, you don't think?
We can't go to the 28th of December. It's on-
No, I can't, that's the busiest week of the year for me.
Would it be possible to have a meeting maybe the first week in January?
Well, we could, the second week's the regular meeting.
Well, it is, but we need to make up quite a few things. We'll have a horrendous meeting if we don't have one in the meantime. Would it be possible for the 4th, do you think? That'd be the first Thursday in January.
I can't say I can be here, because again, I'm starting the week off a day late,
Right,
and I don't know if I can be here then or not.
okay.
Well, can we set it and? if
We can set it, and if people can't make it, why, we'll have to reset it.
Would that be on the 4th or the 5th?
That would be Thursday the 4th.
No, on the third.
Would you forego
That'll be
the
fifth,
following
wouldn't it?
week's
No,
meeting, or would
it's
you
the
have
28th.
two back to back?
Well, you just have two, be one in January the 4th and one at January the 11th.
And then cancel the second meeting? I think we should just go ahead
Well-
and wait till the first meeting, regular meeting.
Would there be anything pressing on January 11th if you just had a meeting 7 days prior to?
Well, the only thing that we had a pretty big schedule, Mr. Bennett, for tonight,
Yeah.
and none of those things have been covered or will be covered when we adjourn.
I guess
So
what
it's a
I was
pleasure of the
asking,
council.
yeah,
I'm just-
back
I'm
to
just-
back,
I
or-
can, anytime, it don't matter to me. I hate to go that long. There ain't no nights that you could come to.
We're looking at the busiest time
Well,
of
it's
the year.
busy
It's
for all of
I
us,
know,
really. Yeah,
I know,
busy
but
for
then,
all of us.
but then especially the week after Christmas, I have to clean up all the mess.
Yeah, well, that's understandable. Well, can we set a date of the 4th and then work toward that? Would that be agreeable, Jim? Okay. Grady?
Could I just make a suggestion here that the meeting just has to be posted at 24 hours notice? You've got about 5 weeks between now and then.
That's true.
You could visit with Mary as well, because
She's
gonna be
not here.
a pretty important
Yes.
due to quorum as far as that goes. That's my suggestion. You don't have to necessarily set that date right now. You can visit with Mary and come to an agreement later. I don't know. That's-
We can do that. I'll do, I'll try to work with everybody the best way that I can. Just my opinion, I think we should just have it on the 11th, our regular meeting night. Because if we have it on the 4th, it's just gonna move things up 1 week,
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
and I
true.
just don't think it's gonna make that much difference. I think that we should just wait till the
What
11th.
what
and
is
get
the
back
pleasure
on-
of the council?
Get
Let's-
back on track.
Yeah. What's the pleasure of the council?
I say, let's
11?
just kind of see what's gonna go on.
Okay,
As Grady says, we can post it just 24 hours.
we can do that.
If we can't, then maybe we can.
So the pleasure of the council is not to have a meeting set on the 4th then?
Right.
Okay, then we'll just post it
That's
as,
okay, Jim.
in the future and give 24-hour notice to all members of the council, and we'll work toward a date. All right, we've got that resolved. All right, I'd like to say then we have approved the bills. We have the state auditor's office with us tonight. Our distinguished guests are Mr. Travis Owens, and I believe that's no relation to our Owens family here in the community, maybe distantly. And we would like to turn the floor over to Mr. Travis.
Thank you so much, Mayor. First off, I'd like to introduce my in-charge auditor, Shannon Spicer. She's going to be the one that's out here doing the audit work with our staff auditors. I work out of the Jefferson City office. Just to give you a little background on myself, I've been with the office about 10.5 years, done various audits of state and local government entities, ranging from we audit all the third-class counties in the state, and we do a lot of petition audits, just like this one, of school districts, water districts, cities, villages, all of different size. It's definitely something that's very common for us to do. I wanted to thank everyone for being so gracious to reschedule the meeting from Thursday. Had a scheduling conflict there. Appreciate you all doing that. So we were petitioned under section 29.230 of state statute. We received 328 valid signatures. 286 of those signatures were required, so they exceeded the number required. Just to give you a little background on how that calculation works, There were 1,142 registered voters in the last gubernatorial election, and you multiply that by 25%. It's kind of a tiered structure, so that's how you get to the 286. The signature requirements, they're further explained on our website, or if you have questions about those, I'd be happy to answer them. This particular audit has been considered what we call active since June 6th of 17. That's when the county clerk confirmed that there was enough signatures and that those were valid signatures of registered voters. So we're happy to get here and finally get it started. This is our busy time of the year. We have a lot of, we audit the state's financial statements this time of the year. We do a lot of federal audits of federal grants this time of the year. So it's a very busy time. Wanted to go over a little bit about the cost. The city will only be billed for actual cost incurred. As stated on the face of the petition, the estimated cost range is $35,000 to $50,000. That is subject to change. It's not a binding estimate. The engagement letter that was just signed by the mayor has that same cost range in there. If we get to the point where we monitor this cost as we proceed, if we think we're going to get to the point where it's going to go over for whatever reason, then we will certainly give you a heads up on that and allow you a chance to ask questions, and we'll explain why. So I just wanted to go over the kind of the general sequence of events. First, we have our entrance conference. That's a public meeting with the board and the citizens. That's what we're doing right now. We have a private meeting with the chief petitioner, just to go over the concerns that led to the petition being started in the signatures. Starting today, we're also entering what we call the survey and fieldwork phase. This should take about 3 to 5 months. That's a rough estimate, depending on whether or not we add a second staff auditor to the team. And that also depends on how much time we devote to the municipal court. We will be taking a quick look into that, kind of a risk assessment process. And then if we decide to break that off into a separate audit, then that would be treated as a separate audit. The city does not get billed for the cost of that. After the field work is over, we enter the reporting stage. As the audit manager, I review every single bit of work performed, and I'm responsible for the report draft. Our report drafts are issued to the public. They're out on our website. Will always be there as a permanent record. Includes responses from the city to any recommendations that are included in that report. Once the report goes through the first couple phases, we'll have an exit conference, which is a closed meeting with city officials and the board. And the purpose of that is to just ensure the accuracy of what we have in the report, allow you a chance to ask questions, allow you a chance to dispute any of the facts in there, and then to obtain written responses from the board, because every single recommendation, being that this is a city audit, would be addressed to the once the report is ready to go public. Generally on petition audits, Auditor Galloway does public deliveries a lot of the time. It's up to her discretion. It's up to her scheduling. At a minimum, there'll always be a press release that goes out, just explaining, kind of summarizing the audit. An executive summary, if you will. So the entire process generally on an audit like this takes about 6 to 9 months. Again, that's a very rough estimate before the audit report is out on the street. Doesn't mean that we're going to be here that long. It just means that that's the time from start to finish.
Correct.
Any questions so far? Okay.
How far do you usually go back? How many years?
I'm just getting to that.
Oh.
Great question. So audit period and audit scope. So I'll read off we have 3 standard objectives on these types of audits. Number 1, evaluate the city's internal controls over significant management and financial functions. Number 2, evaluate the city's compliance with certain legal provisions. And number 3, evaluate the economy and efficiency of certain management practices and operations, including certain financial transactions. What we're doing is considered a performance audit under government auditing standards. It is not anything like a financial statement audit. It's very compliance-oriented, economy efficiency, those types of things. It's much broader in scope than what a financial statement audit does, where they're opining on the accuracy of your financial statements. We will concentrate on the most recently completed fiscal year, which is the fiscal year ended June 30th of 17. But our scope for investigation of petitioner concerns or other concerns that may come to our attention as we get in here and start doing work, we're not limited to just that year. So it's really up to our discretion, our judgment, professional judgment, as far as how far back we want to go. Certainly, we want to focus on current procedures right now, but if there's serious concerns on things that have happened in years past, those may be things that we may want to look at, and we have in other audits. So we'll go back as far as we feel as is reasonable and necessary. We'll also look at anything new that's happened since June 30th, because we're worried about what's going on right now when we're out here doing our work. As I said, we're doing a performance audit. We're not giving an opinion on the financial statements. We will do some analytical work, some review of revenues, review of expenditures, those types of things, to assure ourselves that any material fraud will have a higher probability of being detected. We'll do some general compliance work, both with applicable state laws and local ordinances and policies. We will review management practices, and we'll evaluate and investigate petitioner concerns. Does not mean that we will do work on every single concern that was brought to us. We have to go through an evaluation process, and we determine, is that something that we can even address from an audit standpoint or perspective. We welcome any concerns that the citizens have, welcome any concerns that the board has, any other city officials. Our office phone number is 573-751-4213. Anybody need me to read that again?
Yes.
Okay, it's 573
I have it.
751-4213. We also have a hotline. The hotline, a lot of people like that because you're anonymous if you call the hotline, and you can remain anonymous. And that's 1-800-347-8597. We also have the same kind of hotline thing through an email, and that's just moaudit@auditor.mo.gov. Again, that's moaudit@auditor.mo.gov. At this time, I'd like to ask all the city officials present and board members, do you have any questions about the process for me?
What if, like a resident or someone has questions, can they come in here and talk to you, or how do they need to address that?
We would prefer that they at least call into the office. They're one of those phone numbers, or email the office. They're one of those phone numbers. That way, we're not taken by surprise as we're doing our audit work. Yeah. That way, we can try to schedule a mutual time with them. For the citizens in attendance tonight, is there any questions that I can answer about the process? All right. Well, that concludes my presentation. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to working with all of you as we proceed with this audit.
We're glad for your work and your efforts, Mr. Owen, and I'm sure there'll be forthcoming questions from time to time. But we appreciate your candid, open way that you're addressing the situation. So, as you all know, we've got one of our council members has had a death in her immediate family, brother-in-law, and so we're going to ask for a motion to dispense with the meeting early tonight, so that any member here or any guest here at the meeting can attend that visitation. So, and the other items on the agenda will be taken up at this next meeting, including a review of the bills. So with that, the chair would entertain a motion to an early adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
We have a motion on the floor. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Meeting stands adjourned.
And do you know, we show you those debit card charges where they're at? Maybe you can look at them. Okay, you got hers.
I was waiting for you to tell me that, Paul.
And then whenever.
Chuck, you just have to hold on to that till next time around. We've all got copies of it.
Good.
Ready for the next one, I guess.
Turkey, you doing all right?
Probably